Guys, welcome back to today's video. My name is Dami. If you're just tuning in, you're very much welcome, and if you're a returning subscriber, much love from me to you. Right, so you're very much welcome. In today's episode, we're going to be talking about the reason why you should look poor. Now, this is not saying you are poor, right, but you just have to look it. Right, you look it does not mean you are it. Now, this is one secret of the very wealthy people. I mean, the very wealthy people you admire so much. Now, take for instance, the rich ones to go to the mall. They don't exactly kit up, wear their best clothes. They just literally wear their shorts, a careless or a random slippers, a normal polo top, and off they go. But you see, the poor, they want to go to the mall. That's when they want to wear their Christmas jeans, shirt, maybe even make new hair. I mean, and that's extra. Now, what that does is it inflates the cost of your lifestyle. Now, I always say I'm a fan of of course, I'm a coach. I'm a personal finance coach, so I advance a lot, or adv- I advocate a lot for healthy financial lifestyle. I mean, a very healthy financial lifestyle, having a balance between your needs and your wants, how you live, how you spend your money, how you earn your money, how you grow them, and all of these things, right? So in today's video, we're going to be talking about why it is very important that you look poor, so you don't exactly look your net worth. So your net worth shouldn't be classified or calculated based on what you're looking, or how you look, or the lifestyle you're living. Should be calculated exactly or actually based on what you own, right? So the major reason, I'll be giving us 3 reasons why you need to look poor. Number one of is avoiding a lifestyle inflation. Very important, avoiding lifestyle inflation. Now, this is it. Before now, maybe last year, the way you were living was very okay, and it was able to fit into your salary. But the moment we stepped into this year and inflation set in, it was very necessary that you reduced it, because as at last year you were living at 105% of your earnings. That means you're already at a 5% debt. So your lifestyle was that of 105%, a 5% debt on your next salary or your next income. And of course, when that next income come, remember, it is no longer 100%, it is 95, and then you already have 5 extra. So when you pay the 95, you're now owing 10%, and that continues like that for 10 years. You already have 50% debts to your name, and that's not a healthy financial lifestyle at all. So living below, looking poor, helps you live at the average, such that when there's an inflation, you don't exactly need to reduce your lifestyle because there's an inflation, because before the inflation came, you already had like an average lifestyle. So the inflation does not exactly have to force you to live below your means. So we've always said, okay, live below your means, live below your means. But people have made it look like we are trying to be stingy, trying to be too frugal, trying to be too whatever. But it's very important that you avoid lifestyle inflation by looking poor. Right? It's very, very important. You can avoid the temptation of wanting to spend more. Now, because you have access to that money, you probably had an increment or an increase, or in your salary, or you got an extra pay, a tip for that month, and you are tempted to spend it. Right? That is because you want to look rich. Now, the cost of wanting to look rich when you're exactly not rich is even more deceitful. You're not rich, but you're trying to use the little you have to look rich. That's stressful, because you have to maintain the tempo. And when there's an inflation, remember, you cannot maintain it because you're already aiming for a lifestyle that is not sustainable. Yes, when you're trying to look rich, it is a so not sustainable lifestyle. You cannot sustain it, and you find yourself going into resolving into debt, getting debt again and again to what fund that lifestyle. and it is a total disaster to use debt to fund a lifestyle that is not sustainable. So I'd advise that you live below your means. Live below your means. Look poor. Live the average. That does not mean you are an average person. That does not mean you're a poor person. But you're just looking that way to have a balance, right? And that also affords you extra money to invest, save. To invest and save. Right? To invest and save. So it also keeps you in check. You're not under pressure to please someone. You're not under pressure to spend. You're not under pressure to look in a certain way, because what you already have that mindset or that training to look poor. That brings us to number 2. You discourage unnecessary attention. Well, this is Nigeria, and in this part of the world, you have enemies. Even when you are poor, you have enemies, but of course, they are not so on your case until you become rich. The headache that was never worrying you when you were broke, all of a sudden you became rich. The headache now became so severe that you spend almost half of your salary every month to cater for that headache. Right? So when you become rich, you actually are now even rich, right? And then you are literally flaunting it. Yeah, you are flaunting it to everybody's face, like flashy cars. It's actually not necessary, because you are rich. Why exactly do you even have to prove a point? That's one. Then to who exactly are you proving a point that you're rich? You are rich and you're rich. That's it. So I even really feel it's those who are even exactly poor that are trying to prove a point, and that is why they look rich. But people who are exactly rich, they don't even try to look rich, because boy, they are already rich. Right? They are already rich, so they are not even trying to buy flashy cars. They're not trying to buy flashy houses, flashy jewelries, this, like constantly everything is not them. They're not trying to attract attention. Now that's what buying flashy cars every month, every week, of course, social media is there. You buy it and you post it. You're attracting unwanted or unnecessary attraction to yourself, and that's very risky. Right? That is very risky. People who, now this is even for security purposes, you are flaunting your account balance, you are flaunting your latest iPhone 16, you bought it straight from the factory, you're flaunting this, you're flaunting that almost immediately. And guy, people who are spying on social media would see, and they would come after you. Yes. What do you think, or how do you think scammers get to reach out to people's accounts? It's through social media, it's through internet, your footprint. So the footprint you leave on social media is what attracts scammers or even bad people to you. So please, for security and for, of course, sanity, you have to look poor. You don't exactly have people to prove a point to. Even if you are trying to prove a point to, don't exactly even care. They're also trying to prove a point to another person. So the person you're trying to prove a point to is trying to prove a point to another person, and that person also trying to prove. So the list goes on and on. And so just take a chill pill and live your best life without having to exactly flaunt and flaunt and flaunt. So that's number 2. You wouldn't want what? Unnecessary attraction to yourself. Number 3, it helps you to prioritize long-term wealth. Now, this is it. Wealth is being built, I would always say, of course, forever say, wealth is being built. You don't wake up one day and become rich, right? If you're living below your means, it gives you the opportunity, or it gives you available money to save and invest, and that helps you to build wealth, right? Living living or looking poor helps you to prioritize long-term wealth. It helps you see the beauty of investing in the future, right? You don't spend everything now. A great man said, money is tripartite. Money has a soul, a body, and a soul, a body, and a spirit. Now that's not even the point I'm even trying to make, but that money is both present, past, and future. right? So the money that you're paid or that you get today has in it the portion to settle your debt and a portion to take care of your future. So when you spend everything, both the one for debt and the one for your future, you're eating a part of your future gradually. So a part of your future is exactly the one you're supposed to invest for the future. But because you're so hell bent on trying to look rich, you spend everything and even almost have nothing else left and even borrow to add to it. Right? So it's very important that you look for, because it gives you that sense of the future needs to be built, and you build the future wealth through investments. And of course, there are many investment platforms you can, or investment vehicles you can key into or plug into to help your future finances, right? You can see my other videos where I spoke about that, and then help yourself with that. Two more tips, and I said three, but I'm going to give us two more, right? Number four, it fosters what? Financial discipline. Now, when you're able to maintain a particular lifestyle irrespective of what you earn, even when there's an increase, you exactly would not see yourself or find yourself increasing or changing your lifestyle to suit your increase in income, because you've over time built that sense of having to look poor irrespective of what you earn or what you will earn. So it helps you adopt the lifestyle of appearing simple yet classy. Simple, right? And it also helps serve as a constant reminder that you have to stay disciplined with your spending habits. Spending is a very big hole through which your income leaks. So if you're not able to curb your spending habits, you literally have a problem with savings and investments. So when you're able to fix your spending habits, right, fix the things you spend on, you're able to leverage that to save and even invest, right, and even probably even build emergency funds for yourself. So it's very important that you look poor. Look poor, not be poor. Look poor, don't be poor, right? And lastly, it helps you reduce financial stress. Now, by this, when you avoid keeping up to appearances of luxury and trends, do you know keeping up to luxury and trend is very stressful? I was telling a friend, okay, no, my sister recently, that you fashion as it's like they've exhausted creativity, because they're literally going back to the styles that was being worn in the 90s, in the 80s. There was a time if you wore baggy trouser, I mean, what we call palazzo, what we call combat, what we call mommy jean, or whatever. There was a time when you wear that, you're seen as an old school. They're like, who is this person exactly? But that is what is trending now, right? So imagine you had bought it years back and you discarded it because it went out of trend. When it is now back again in trend, you still have to buy it. Like, it's so stressful having to keep up with trend. Every new clothes, every new shoe, every new this, every new that, is mentally stressful, physically draining, and financially wrecking. So it's not a good thing. It's not a good lifestyle to maintain. Plus, it's not sustainable. When you talk about wealth, building a healthy financial lifestyle, you look at sustainability. Ask yourself, this lifestyle I am starting or I'm imbibing, I'm adopting, is it sustainable? Can I sustain it for the next 5-10 years, especially if I lose my job in 2 years from now? So these are very valid questions you would ask yourself when you're building a financial lifestyle, right? Of course, that is why this is coming up. You have to look poor, because following trend is not cheap. Is not cheap. And also reduce the financial burdens, the money you have to invest in an image that is not seen or appreciated by anyone. So you have to look at things like, if you're investing in building your image, it should be an asset kind of image, not a liability kind of image. If you buy G4 G47 or G whatever, GS7 car today, you buy the latest G cars, you buy the latest Rolls Royce, the picture will be on internet, the news will fly for that day. You probably might trend if you're lucky. But guess what? In the next 1 hour, well, that's too close. It's too close. In the next, let's say 24 hours, let me be lenient. There's somebody else or something else trending, and you are literally forgotten. Everybody have forgotten that you bought the latest car or the latest phone or the latest dress or whatever. So it's very not necessary, and you relieve yourself of the stress of having to keep up to a lifestyle that no one is monitoring you for owning or for having or for adopting. So it's very important that you look for, or do not pour, to be able to leverage investment to build your what financial future. Aha, I hope you got value in this video, and if you did, I'm sure you did, you should like, comment, subscribe, even share with your friends and families, and even click the notification bell because you want to be the first to hear when I post another video. Thank you so much for watching, and see you in the next video. Bye.